Today I want to share a topic is about the silent love. So before we start such a topic, I like to ask a question. Do you and your boyfriend or girlfriend say "I love you" to each other often? I think most of you answered yes, of course. So do you and your parents say "I love you" to each other often? I think most people will give an opposite answer. In China or even the whole Asia, introversion seems to be a common philosophy. People are always feeling shy about expressing love outright, especially between parents and children. Thus, although we often say love to our lovers, we rarely say love to our parents. We always think that the actions are more important than words and believe that we can experience our love through actions. It's true, but why we can't say love straightforwardly? Is love expressed by the action enough, or are you make sure that others can feel your love from such a silence? Maybe you believe that, but the truth, maybe not. So I like to share one of my own story. I was born in a small city of China, and since 1982, China started to use a policy called family planning, which means every parent can only have one child, no matter it's boy or girl. Meanwhile, my family was expecting a boy to be born so that the family name would be passed on. And my father's brothers all had a doctors, so child was the last hope of this family. But you can say, I'm sitting here to tell you such a story, so you already know the ending. Yeah, my boss also means that the last hope was completely dashed. And my father was just like so many other Chinese fathers. He was quiet and was very busy. Every day when I wake up, he already goes to the office. And when he come back, I already falling asleep. So he didn't have so many time to stay with me or just to communicate with me. Therefore, I always thought as a child that he didn't love me. And my birth was a mistake because my gender was not what they expected. Until I was suddenly taken to the hospital by my teacher, I thought that whoever come would not be my father to see me first. But actually, I saw my father rushing over with a sweated head. I was very confused and said, "If you don't love me, why you are in such a hurry?" He was shocked at first when he heard such a question and asked me why I thought that. I explained my thought about gender and said, "You even never said I love me. I love you. I love you to me." Sorry. He looked so sad and turned away. Then he came back with a stack of paper that were all the medical report from my mom's pregnancy. And each page showed clearly about my gender. In fact, he said, "Before you're born, we already know you are a girl." I don't know how to express my love, but please believe that you were born with our affection and love. I said, "But why you can't say love?" My father replaced, "Please forgive my lack of words. You are the first time to be a doctor, and I'm also the first time to be a father. I learned all the experience of being a father from your grandpa, who never said love to his children even once. I would have thought that verbal love was not needed. That was my mistake, and I will make a change." So, do you think he was able to be honest and say love after this story? No, he still has a hard time express his love straightforwardly. He just changed to another job so that he can spend more time with me. He still expressed his love in the way he used to. Often I saw him open his mouth to try to say something like, I love you, and then hold his face red without making a sound. I thought, well, it's okay. At least I already know his love, right? Maybe the emotion between parents and children just cannot be expressed in a straightforward way. Or maybe we just cannot say love. But soon my opinion changed. In a holiday, my father took me to the Yunnan alone. There are lots of mountains, so every year there will happen some accident with travels. Sitting on the bus, I was listening to the guide tell a very famous true story about a huge earthquake in Sichuan in 2008, which ended many lives. I also shared it with you. A mom gave up her chance to survive and protect her children in a very twisted position, allowing her child who was still a baby to survive intact like a miracle. When researchers saw the mother, her body was already stiff, and there was a cell phone next to the baby with an unsent message on it. It says, "My baby, if you can survive, please remember that I love you." I was very touched and used my phone and sent message to my mom, said, "Mom, I love you forever." After that, we arrived at the destination. It's so noisy that we didn't hear our cell phone ring until we got back to the hotel. My dad and I saw the numerous missed calls on our phone. It was my mom who saw something had happened to me, and when I called back, my mom said, "Oh my God, I almost called the police." I suddenly realized that because I had barely said I love you before, so that my mom think it was an unusual sign. Something bad happened, and that's panic so much, right? When I ask my parents say love straightforwardly, I didn't do that myself. So why not start with me? Since then, I have tried to express my love to my parents straightforwardly, whenever I can, over and over again. What surprised me was one day my mom suddenly responded to this by saying, "Although I think you should know, I also want to tell you that I love you too." Then she looked at my father, who forced himself to say that Daddy love you too. But his eyes still showed the familiar red color. So we can't say love? No, you can say we can say it if we start with ourselves and take the first step. 2 years ago, a very famous movie was released called Hey Mom. I have found out that it was also released in Singapore. The story is about how a girl travels back to her mom's young days after her mom's unexpected death, hoping that her mom will feel her unspoken love. The play gives the story of a perfect ending. The movie also touched many people after it's released. It evoked the love and emotion between them and their parents. In fact, the movie was made by director Jia Ling based on a true story between herself and her mother, who suddenly death left her with so many regrets she wanted to make up for, including the love and the gratitude she was not able to say straight out. The story is so beautiful, and the two-way effort between her and her mother finally accomplished all her wish and brought the story to a perfect ending. But in the reality life, however, her mom had left her so many years ago. She doesn't have the ability to reverse the time and go back to the past. And we don't have such ability as well. The love that was once unsaid because of shine can only be covered up in time and become a regret forever. Why should we let it become a regret? Why can't we say love straightforward? Life is never smooth. We don't know tomorrow or accident which one will come first. If that day comes suddenly, will you have unspoken regret about what the last sentences we can leave for them? Well, you can see here is a very short video, which was I took on a plane flying in a stormy night. The reason why it's so brief is that immediately afterward, the plane was under the influence of the turbulence, and the passengers on board began to steer. The radio kept resuming the passengers, but the girl next to me was still crying. I had to stop to comfort her. She looked so sad, and she cried to me that she had just had a flight with her parents before she boarding the plane on phone. That's the last sentences they left for each other was argument. She said she even never said love to her parents. She didn't want to die, and she wanted to go back and tell her mom and dad that she loved them. I can't help but think back, if the plane cannot take off today, what's the last sentences I left for my parents? Suddenly, I remember that, well, it's I love you. I suddenly feel an unprecedented sense of relief that even if today was the end of my life, I didn't have the regret of silent love. Fortunately, that flight eventually landed safely. Or you cannot say I stand here to say such a story. And I saw the way that the girl flew to her parents and said, I love you. So what we can't say love, actually we can. Be brave enough to show love to your parents and children, and don't leave any regret because of the silent love. That's all about my talk. Thank you very much for listening.